Everybody good? I can't talk like this. All right, well, we'll get started. Good morning, everyone. I'm Councilmember Brandon Johnson. I represent this area, District 1, which includes Crown Heights, the neighborhood we are in today. Last Tuesday, we had the opportunity to meet with neighbors over there at Robinson, again, just to provide updates on this project and what to expect moving forward. But this project is the culmination of not only years, but decades of engagement on how to improve this neighborhood in this flooding situation. We've been hearing from residents for many years, especially when we received deluges of rain, as we did several weeks ago and a little bit that we received this morning. Erwin Russell Bleckley was born in Wichita on December 30th, 1894, and joined the Kansas National Guard in 1917. On October 6, 1918, bleeding supplies to the Lost Battalion under heavy fire, his plane was shot down and he was killed in action. In 1932, at the request of the American Legion, Wichita renamed Harding Boulevard to Bleckley Drive. The southern end of Bleckley Drive near Kellogg has had serious flooding issues going back several decades, including a fatality in the 1970s. During a 100-year rain event, Bleckley Drive experiences extreme flooding and flood depths of nearly 5 feet, with rates of flow exceeding 7 feet per second. In 2022, the project went to council and was authorized to begin the design of this project. In late 2022, PEC was selected to do a feasibility study for Bleckley improvements. In the fall of 2023, City Council approved design phase 1 of the improvements from Kellogg to Waterman. And in May 2024, City Council approved the remaining design from Waterman to Elm. We began stakeholder information gathering in 2022 and in 2023 and held a public engagement meeting in April of 2024. Design of the project began in February of 2025, and the Wichita City Council approved a $36 million drainage project to redesign drainage systems and prevent water-related hazards, with phased construction expected through 2028. Today, we are here to celebrate the official kickoff of phase 1 of the project, which consists of reconstructing the drainage channel between Kellogg and Waterman. During this phase, we expect the impact to the residents to be nominal, but it marks the beginning of a multi-year project that will help abate the area with the most extreme flooding in Wichita. This is our #1 flooding issue. Future phases include utility relocations and construction of the storm sewer system within Bleckley between Waterman and Elm, and the final design of future phases is ongoing, with the estimated completion of the full drainage system anticipated in 2028. We designed it to be done in multiple phases to lessen the impact to the residents. Bleckley Drive is much more than just a roadway. It's a living tribute to Lieutenant Erwin Bleckley, connecting Wichita's past, present, and efforts towards future preservation and infrastructure improvement. We know that during this project there will be some impacts and some inconvenience to neighbors and area businesses, and we appreciate the patience while we go through this once-in-a-lifetime major project that will increase safety to the area, improve home values, and help safeguard this neighborhood's infrastructure for generations to come. Today, here to talk about more on logistics of the project is our Public Works and Utilities Director, Gary Jansen.
Thank you, Councilmember Johnson. It's great to be out here today. As Councilmember said, this has been a really long time coming. I've been with the city for over 30 years now, and I can remember when I first started, we were talking about this project, talking about the challenges and what could be done in the future. So we're finally here, excited to see what's happening. Construction's already underway. I want to talk about a few of the specifics. Councilmember talked about multiple phases of this project. It's going to take some time to finish design and build through this, what is really a complex project. So phase 1 of construction, which was awarded to Wildcat Construction, work is underway already between Waterman and Kellogg. That will provide reconstruction of the existing channel, which is going to be what we need at the downstream end of where all this drainage goes to. It will prepare us to make the additional improvements from Waterman all the way up to Elm north of Central. The next phase, which will start in the spring of 2026, phase 2, We'll start on the major rework of the existing public utilities for water and sewer that need to be relocated so that we can make room for the new drainage system that's going to go underground. At some point in time past that, we will start the actual new drainage construction for the major facility that will go from Waterman to Elm. So it's going to be a lot of work happening. There's going to be a lot of overlapping of construction at times. That first phase of construction will limit traffic to one direction, adjacent to the homes there that are between Waterman and Kellogg. We've spent a lot of time with public engagement. They understand what's coming. As we move forward with additional design, as we get to construction, there's going to be significant impact to the neighborhoods as we move south to north. We had a meeting last week, spoke to some of the property owners about those specifics. We will continue those conversations as design moves forward and the major construction efforts get underway. Throughout all of this, in different areas throughout the entire corridor, there's also going to be work being done by the franchised utilities. So the communications companies, gas company, power, they will also be doing work. You can see a lot of that happening on Douglas right now. Through the area that is in preparation of the major improvements that are coming. So there's going to be a lot happening. Our goal is to keep public engagement to the forefront. We're going to keep as much information as we can out there so that everybody understands what's happening and when it's happening. So I just want to finish by thanking the Wichita City Council for working through this with us, providing the funding for the project. I want to specifically thank Councilmember Johnson for his resolve. All the time that he's been on council, he has kept us moving forward, kept us focused, made sure that we were evaluating scenarios and that we got to the right point, and I really think that we did. And I think without his guidance and leadership, we probably wouldn't be here today. So thank you, Councilmember Johnson, for keeping us moving in the right direction. Again, I'm just glad to be here. I'm glad all of you could be here today, and we're ready to get moving forward.
Thank you, Gary. Unlike traditional groundbreakings, we're not laying out any dirt or using shovels. All that's under this concrete right here. So I won't take up any more of your time talking. I do want to invite public works staff, all of our construction partners, and everyone involved in this project over here for a photo to get started. And we'll get started on this project, and everything will be moving.
All right, guys, on the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Let's do one more. 1, 2, 3. All right.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Quick question, Gary. What's the most complicated part of the engineering process to get this whole thing
I think the most complicated part was trying to find the balance between cost and effectiveness. You know, the storm event we had just in the last couple of weeks, an event of that magnitude is really hard to address, and even after we're done with these improvements, it's not going to fully deal with that much rain. But it will make a difference. It'll absolutely make a difference. It's going to make things safer, especially from a life safety perspective. But we evaluated many scenarios on size of facility that we need to go underground, the impact to the neighborhood, cost. One of our initial estimates, one of our initial looks at this project, we got to over $100 million pretty quick on where we thought we might want to go, and realized that that was just not a viable option. So I think we got to a really good place. We were able to look at data across a 15-year period specific to this area, storm data, as opposed to looking at kind of the theoretical options that we often do. And so it really helped us to dial in on how we can have the most impact here, right here. So I think we got to a really good place. We were able to identify something that was manageable from a funding perspective. and that we can get done. So there has been a lot of evaluation, especially over the last 3 to 4 years, on multiple scenarios, and I think we're in a really good place.
At the beginning of construction on Douglas, the utility company shut down the street without informing the city. What's being done to address that? Has that been communicated?
Yeah, so we're working on that. So this is not unlike many projects, especially of this size. Those utilities are within public right-of-way by way of a franchise agreement. They still have to notify us. We knew they were going to do the work there. We had a little bit of miscommunication between us and them. I'm not so sure it was so much that they didn't notify the city. It was the way that we went about making sure everybody knew when that was going to start, when that was going to happen. Unlike a lot of things that we do, we've found that as an opportunity to make sure we improved our process going forward, and I'm confident that we have. So that's going to take quite a bit of time, that work to get done. Once they're done on Douglas, they've got to move to Central and effectively do the same thing. It's really the biggest factor that's driving the schedule for this project. And so they were ready to get going. We were ready to get them going, and I think we kind of missed a step in there. But it's, again, I think we've learned from it, and we'll do better with that in the future.
You kind of spoke about it a little bit. How long has this been an issue for the residents here?
You want to take that?
You talking about as far as from the drainage?
Yeah, like kind of spoke about it.
Well, you can go back to what Councilmember Johnson mentioned. There was a death that could be related to the flooding all the way back in the 1970s. So I think this goes back even prior to that. There used to be a creek that ran through here, and I can't speak to what happened, the decision that was made development-wise, but I think most people can understand when you create a residential development through where a creek was, something's got to give. And there were not development standards in place like we have now that would speak to what do you do with drainage. And so this has been the result for many, many years. Through the course of time, it just didn't seem like it was going to be obtainable, that we could get to a point of being able to fund a project like this. But there's some new technology out there that allows us to evaluate storm events and really be able to model the impact of improvements. And I think that's what's made a difference to finally be here today, that we can really simulate what can happen with these improvements, what it will do for the neighborhood, and be able to create and develop a project that like we're going to see here that's coming soon.
Councilman Johnson, how do you put into words just how special today was, given how long this project has been?
I don't know how to put it into words. I said this at the public gathering. My first house gathering when I was running for office was on Bleckley, just south of here. And everyone there said that they wanted this issue addressed. And once I was elected, working with our team, I learned how significant it was. It kind of puts into context that sometimes it does take 8 years to do something. But as complex as this issue was, and all the minds and models and everything we've seen, I'm just happy to get started. I think the last couple weeks rain events really signifies it. All the footage you all had of water running over hoods of cars, this project will greatly reduce that water down to foot and a half at max. I mean, all the models show maybe 8 to 10 inches, which is better than 5 feet. So I'm really excited to see it get going. I'm more of a when it gets done, talk about it. So I'm looking forward to 2028 when it's done and a rain event happens and you don't see that type of water that we've seen over the years. But I am glad that we were able to get focused on this. I don't like kicking big issues down the curb, and I'm glad that my colleagues saw fit to continue to approve the designs and budget for it.
Like one more question. Like, what are they changing? Like the pitch of the road, making the drainage bigger down there, or what is actually? What was it?
They're changing the pitch of the road or making the drainage bigger downstream.
So the roadway itself, not a lot will change as far as the geometrics of the road. We will make improvements where we can, because the whole goal is here, we're going to put a large infrastructure underground. So as you get further downstream where we're going to start, we're going to reconstruct that channel. It's going to be wider, it's going to be deeper. As we start at Waterman and come this way, the size of the infrastructure is going to be large. and it'll slowly get smaller as we come north upstream, typical of any drainage system that we would build. But the more water you pick up heading downstream, the larger the facility's got to be. So we're going to add a lot of inlet structures like you see here to be able to get that water underground, because once we get that facility underground, we got to get the water to it as effectively as we can. So there will be a lot of curb inlets, a lot more than you see now, because there's nowhere to take it. On all the way down Bleckley, on all of the side streets, we will change the grading, the pitch you talked about of the streets, to make sure we direct that runoff to where it needs to go to.
How will it affect Robinson Middle School when schools start taking it? Will there be an effect there, or will the construction for this particular piece be affected?
So for this coming school year, probably not. Well, it won't. We won't start working our way up from Waterman north on the major infrastructure, the major drainage improvements, probably until late next year. There'll be some other work going on in between, but when we get up here with the large drainage structure, which is going to kind of come right through here behind where you're at, we have started discussions with the school. We will continue those discussions. We'll meet with them well in advance so that they know what our timing is to get here and how that'll impact. It'll impact one school year, but this coming fall, I don't think they'll see a lot happening out here just yet. Good?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gary.